Beautiful Arizona desert for the most part. It's only beautiful when it's nice and cool outside. In the summertime, it's not so appealing. Anyway, this is Daryl. This is Daryl DTV. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. And today is story time. And I wanted to talk about some of the coolest people that I have met in the entertainment business and hip-hop culture, to be exact. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people over the years involved in hip-hop culture, whether it was in regards to MCs, B-boys, graffiti artists, beatboxers, just a lot of pillars, man. DJs especially, and it's been a real pleasure to get so close to some of these people that I've admired, so much. That being said, I wanted to talk about some of the coolest, nicest, most down-to-earth people that I've had the opportunity to meet or hang out with or whatnot. And for the most part, most of the people that I've met have been really cool, really nice, and some not so cool. But today we're gonna focus on the positive. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Look at this landscaping. Look at these beautiful mountains. And in the words of the homeboy Robot Rock, I am hiking my way to healthy. But yeah, man. I want to talk about some of the cool people I've met and just my experiences, that I've had, and kind of share that with you guys, and you guys can definitely share some of your cool, positive experiences with me down in the comments. So let's do it. I'm gonna basically talk about 5 different artists or groups or whatnot, and we're gonna go from there. Cool? Y'all wanna hang out? That's what's up. All right. Let me start off with a crew, and that most of you guys are familiar with. And this crew is none other than the Hieroglyphics out of Oakland, California. Let me tell you something. This is the coolest group of guys I think I've ever met. I mean, from the first time I've met, I've hung out with those guys, met those guys, hung out backstage, did shows with those guys many, many, many times over the years. And they have been nothing but complete gentlemen. So appreciative of their fans, still performing and reaching out and doing it as if they just got into the business. And I remember the first time that I personally met them was back around '96 in Milwaukee, my hometown. And the deal was they were on tour, and they did a show in Chicago. And a buddy of mine, his name is Mike J. He went over to the Chicago show to check him out over there. Now, Mike J worked at the college radio station. He had a show on there where he just played a lot of rap music, and he would have different DJs on there. I DJ'd on this show. JDL out of Milwaukee, he DJ'd on the show a lot. And so Mike J went over to Chicago to check him out, and apparently he got to speak with them, and he talked them into driving over to Milwaukee and coming to his home to film an interview. So I don't know, I just got the phone call from one of the homies that, hey, you know, the hieroglyphics are pulling up to Mike's house. So at the time I did a show on public access. It was called Daryl's DJ Spotlight. I think I have a few of them on VHS tape that I gotta upload to this channel eventually. But so yeah, I had a DJ show, and a good buddy of mine, Professor Pitt, who was the MC out of Milwaukee, rest in peace, Pitt. He had a show that centered around, you know, the rap industry. Now you can check out one of his shows right here on this channel. It's called Mental Fitness Zon Other Level Pitt. I guarantee you it will be one of the, if not the most craziest, uncensored, obnoxious rap show, hip-hop show you've ever seen. It's crazy. Pitt was a nut job, for real. Mental Fitness Zon Other Level Pitt, right here on this channel. Go check it out. Anyway, so here you got two guys in there that are doing shows and or public access shows, and we go over there, and it was pretty much, it was unbelievable. The entire hieroglyphics crew. So they kind of started things off. They all sat on the front porch, Mike's front porch, and they all just started freestyling. And I have this, I videotaped this, of course. I have this footage which I will upload eventually. And so that's how the day started. It was just hieroglyphics, freestyling, you know what I mean? And then we took it inside, and everybody's filming. There's, you know, 3 or 4 cameras going at the same time. This is when J-Biz and Pep Love, you know, they had that group called The Pros. And so, you know, I spent a lot of time filming J-Biz because, you know, that was my thing, the DJing and all of that. And yeah, I got to record all those guys and get drops from them, and it was just incredible. And I remember Domino, this is right when the this was before the Third Eye Vision album had dropped. Check that out. This was before the Third Eye Vision album had dropped, but they had just received the 12-inch for The Who and After Dark. And so myself, Domino, and Pep Love, we all hopped in a car, and I was taking those guys all around Milwaukee to all of the record stores to sell, you know, that 12-inch to all of the record stores. And of course, all of the record stores bought. Everybody was, you know, was trying to get that 12-inch. So my 2 personal copies, you know, is I'm pretty happy to say that I bought from the hieroglyphics themselves. I didn't buy it from a record store. I bought it directly from those guys. So it was a cool day, man. I'm telling you, it was so cool to hang out with those guys, and, you know, not an ounce of arrogance or anything among the whole group. And that was my first experience. In '98, I moved out here to Arizona, and of course, you know, they were in Arizona all the time. So I used to DJ a lot of concerts, so I performed with those guys a lot. And even if I wasn't performing, at the actual show. If they were just performing somewhere and I went to go check them out, then that of course was, pretty cool experience too. And just the nicest guys. I mean, Hieroglyphics they're one of those crews that are known for getting real close to their fans. So those of you who have met or hung out with the Hieroglyphics, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're just some cool cats, man. I remember being in Flagstaff at a Hyro show and getting an autograph from A+, and he signed a record for me, and I thanked him afterwards, and he was like, "No, man, no. Thank you, man. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for buying our record." He was way more appreciative than I was. And I just thought that was so humble, of them, because a lot of celebrities, a lot of entertainers are just the opposite. And I can say that about, I've hung out with Casual numerous amount of times, and Dale, Pep Love, me and Pep we mad cool. I haven't, it's been a while since I've spoken to him, but I've gotten autographs and pictures and drops and all kinds of stuff from these guys. Just the coolest guys on earth. So when I thought about, doing a video where I'm talking about some of the coolest people I've met, the Hieroglyphics were the first to pop into my mind. They are definitely the first group I wanted to tell you guys about. So yeah, man, Hieroglyphics crew, much love to those brothers, man. I don't think they can do too much wrong. So number 2 on the list, we got 5 in all that I'm going to talk about. There's a lot more, but these are the 5 that came to mind immediately. So number 2 is Speech from Arrested Development. Me and Speech, we kind of go way back. We're both from Milwaukee. When I was in high school, like maybe a freshman, they were upperclassmen at different schools, and they had Speech had a local record with his first group called Attack. So we used to go check them out. And then when he got signed, I remember right after he got signed, he did a show in Milwaukee at the Shank Hall over on the east side. And that was the first time that I actually met him. And he autographed, a glossy photo for me, which was pretty cool. And I've gotten a chance to meet him and interview him several times over the years. Well, a few times, not several times, but just a cool brother. I mean, his music, his interviews, when you see him talking, doing interviews or on YouTube, he's really like that in real life. He's just a very soft-spoken, laid-back, cool brother. I can't say it any plainer than that. He's a cool dude. I remember maybe 23, 24 years ago, somewhere around in there, when he went solo and he was touring, for a solo album, and he was playing at, I think it was either Marquette or UWM in Milwaukee. He was doing a show there, and I requested an interview. Look at this big ditch or valley or something. I requested an interview with Speech, and he was nice enough to let me interview him. And again, this was like after Arrested Development had broken up, and very rarely did I get to like hang out with the group as a whole. Usually it was just him. When they were like super huge, during like the first two albums. Um, you know, I never got to talk to any of those guys during that period because they were huge. And so I got to talk to him or hang out with him when they first got signed and then after they had broken up. And I got to interview him. It was a cool interview. I will upload that. I got a lot of footage that I'm going to share with you guys. But he's just a cool brother. And then years ago, maybe about 8, 9 years ago at least, I started working on a documentary about old school Milwaukee rap music. It's called Ill-Waukee, the story of Milwaukee rap. It's the first video, if you want to check it out, it's the first video I ever posted on this channel. So if you go all the way down to the bottom of the page, of my main page, you can check out that video and look at all of the Milwaukee rap royalty from the 80s into the early 90s. But anyway, I got in touch with him somehow. He was living in Atlanta at the time, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, yeah. I told him when I was going to be in town, and could I interview him? He was like, absolutely, I would love to talk about that stuff. I never get to talk about the old school days in Milwaukee. And he invited me to his home. For whatever reason, I couldn't, my GPS wouldn't pick up his address, so I ended up meeting him at their studio. Their studio there in Georgia. I think it was Fayetteville or somewhere over there in the Atlanta metropolitan area. So yeah, I got to, he invited me, and man, I had the greatest interview with him, man. Check out that video, Ill-Waukee, the story of Milwaukee rap. And just for him to be so hospitable and for him to invite me, you know, into his environment and give me this excellent interview, just a real cool, down-to-earth brother. He is everything that he preaches to be, you know, just a cool, down-to-earth brother. Big ups to Speech, man. He's a cool dude, man. I really dig, you know, how he gets down. And go back and check out my video. I just shot a video all about the vinyl of Arrested Development and Speech. So go check that video out too. Let me know what you think of that. So yeah, so we got Hyro, we got Speech. Next up on the list is Public Enemy. Public Enemy. Listen, I can't tell you anything about this group that you haven't heard a million times over, other than maybe if you have the opportunity to actually hang out with those guys, then you know they're some of the coolest guys. And I'm talking about the entire group. My first interaction with those guys, for the most part, I mean, I used to go check out their shows, you know, back in the 80s when they first came out at the Mecca Arena in Milwaukee. But as far as getting close to them, I was back in, it was like 98, I think it was. 98, 99, maybe 2000, somewhere in there. They were in Phoenix doing the show. They were on the Smoke and Grooves tour. I think they were headlining the Smoke and Grooves tour. And I ran into one of my homies outside the venue, and he got me in backstage. We went through the back door. So, man, I'm back there, and I'm, you know, there's Busta Rhymes, and there's Wyclef and the whole Refugee All-Stars. There's, like, you know, Premier and Guru, with the entire Gangstar Foundation. Cypress Hill's walking around. I mean, it was just mind-blowing. I'm hanging out, Spliff Star over there talking to some chick, and, you know, Flavor's walking. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I remember being on the side of the stage while Wyclef was performing, and he had cannabis with him, and he had Praz with him, and just a whole refugee all-star camp. And I'm standing there checking out Wyclef and his crew, and then I look over to the side, and man, maybe 15, 20 feet away, I see Chuck D standing there just checking out the show. I was like, whoa, there's Chuck D. I was like, whoa, I couldn't even believe it, man. And so I'm trying to play it cool. I'm speechless, I don't know what to say, and then all of a sudden there's this big explosion on stage that was a part of Wyclef's show. It scared the crap out of me. And after the explosion, Chuck D walked over to me and he said, "Hey man, did they get you with that?" I said, "Man, yeah, man, that scared the crap out of me, man." He just kind of laughed and shook his head. And I was just like, whoa, I can't believe Chuck D spoke to me. Just a cool, down-to-earth brother. But what stands out even more than that is back in, what was it, around 2006. Wow, look at this. Look at that beautiful scenery. And I'm not out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like a mile away, not even a mile, maybe a half a mile, quarter of a mile away from where I live. You can see some homes back there. There's a main street. But this is how close we are to the mountains right in the heart of the city here in Phoenix. Anyway, 2006, Public Enemy's on tour with X-Clan, and this was right around the time when the Public Enemy comic book was released. So they were making an appearance at a comic book store right in the city. And I was like, what? And my boy Chino D called me up and he said, "Yo, Public Enemy's in town. They're gonna be at Atomic Comics over by Metro Center." And I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I had to take the chance, right? So I just left work early, went home. I grabbed a bunch of Public Enemy stuff that I wanted to hopefully get autographed. I grabbed like a couple of records. I grabbed the Public Enemy action figures, and I grabbed I have a sneaker. I have like a bunch of pairs of sneakers with like autographs all over them. So I grabbed a sneaker, and I go to Atomic Comics, and I pull up, and sure enough, there's a big crowd of people on the side of the building, because there's a stage out there and there's a DJ spinning. Excuse me. And sure enough, PE is supposed to be showing up, because I get out the car, I run into a whole bunch of cats that I know, and wow, I'm just hanging out. Wow, Public Enemy wasn't there yet, but I'm hanging out, and eventually I go into the store, and the store's just packed with people. I mean, just completely packed. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? And you know what's really crazy is a lot of the people that were in the store didn't seem like they were like PE fans. It was like something weird about them, So I'm hearing people talk. I'm kind of ear hustling, if you will. And then I figured it out that a lot of those people that were inside the store were there to see Flavor Flav because of the whole Flavor of Love show, when he was doing that. So it was a bunch of people that, wasn't even real PE fans. just television fans for the most part. Anyway, um, PE finally shows up, and they come inside, and there's like tons of people there, and let me tell you, they sat at a table, and they were signing autographs and taking pictures and, you know, doing quick little interviews, and it was so cool. And every now and then, one of the S1Ws would come down the line, and he would tell everybody, they would tell everybody, hey, be cool, don't worry, we're gonna get to everybody. Everybody is gonna, you know, get to meet PE. It was so cool. Johnny Juice was there, DJ Johnny Juice, who is, a lot of people don't know that he did, you know, all of that scratching on those early PE albums. It wasn't Terminator X, it was Johnny Juice. And he was there, so, you know, it was a pleasure to meet him, and got to hang out with Brother Jay from X Clan. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let me see. I think there's somebody coming on a bicycle. Oh, let's see.
Excuse me.
How you doing?
Hey, good man.
So yeah, everybody, I mean, they were just so cool to everybody that was there, and it was a lot of people. And then at some point they had to break off. They went outside to the stage, and then they performed a whole set right in the parking lot, the parking lot of this comic book shop. So they performed for about maybe an hour, and when they were done, they all came back inside, except Flavor Flav. They all went back inside, and they you know, completed the whole autograph signing thing. Now Flavor stayed outside because he had just released a solo album, and then he did a solo performance. So he did, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 songs, and then he went back inside, and then he started signing autographs. And they were right. Everybody that was there got to take a picture or meet them or get an autograph, you know, buy a comic book, whatever. It was really cool, and they were all super duper down to earth, humble, laid back, all of them, man. Public Enemy. And that's another thing, Chuck D, he does a lot of interviews. He's a real laid back, mellow soul brother, and he's just like that in person. Trust me when I say that. So yeah, PE, man, Public Enemy, one of the best ever, one of the coolest groups, coolest bunch of guys that I've gotten to hang out with. Yeah, man, so let's go to number 4. Number 4 is a legend from a legendary group. Number 4 is no other than JDL from the legendary Cold Crush Brothers. JDL, I used to, when I would go to New York, there's a company, a touring company in New York called the Hush Tours, the Hush Hip Hop Tours. If you've never heard of them, look them up. They're a company that they take you all around, you know, New York City, and show you all of these legendary places, these historical sites where hip hop culture in some way, shape, or fashion took place. And the cool thing, you know, they have these really cool chartered luxury buses or vans that they take people around. I took 3 of them, 3, 4 of them. And the cool thing is that on each tour, one of the legends of hip hop will be hosting that tour. So your tour guide is a legend. So I remember the first tour I took was the Bronx Harlem tour. It was hosted by Grandmaster Cass, the grandest of them all, and we just went to all of these cool places all over the Bronx and Harlem. Man, we went to Harlem World. We went by the Disco Fever. We went to the graffiti wall, some famous graffiti wall. Um, just to all of these cool places, man. And then I took, I think the following summer, I took the Queens tour. And come to find out, JDL is the host of that tour. Well, I took a few of those. This was the second Queens tour that I took. And there was only three of us on that tour. Myself, and then there was these two guys. I think they were from Germany, Berlin or somewhere. I can't remember. So it was just the three of us and then JDL. But that particular day, there was some type of mechanical issue with the bus, with the charter bus, and so they didn't want to cancel the entire tour. So JDL was kind of talking to us, and he was like, let's just hop on the subway. I'll pay for everything. We'll go 2 stops down, and we'll go to 5 Points, and we'll check out 5 Points. For those that know, 5 Points was that legendary New York building that was completely covered in graffiti on all sides, and I think it was, I don't know, 6, 7 stories tall. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to look it up. But if you go Google, 5 Points, Queens, New York, or whatever, or 5 Points graffiti building, or whatever, you can check that out. Legendary building. All of the graffiti is gone now, from what I understand. So we were like, cool. You know what I'm saying? We hopped on the subway, went a couple stops and got off, and we just kind of hung out there, met some graffiti artists who were, in the middle of painting and whatnot. It was really cool. We took a bunch of pictures, and JDL was very apologetic about the whole thing, and wanted to make sure that we had a good time, and offered us food and soda and whatnot, and we still had a good time. We didn't get to take the whole tour, but we still had a great time. He was like, yo, anything I can do to make sure you guys are satisfied. And I said, at one point I kind of pulled him aside, and I said, you know what you could do for me? I said, I have a Cold Crush record at my hotel room. I would love to get you to autograph it for me. I said, but it's at my hotel. I was like, is there any way that I can meet up with you tomorrow and you can sign it for me, and I'll come to wherever you are? And he was like, yeah, no doubt. He was like, what part of town are you staying on? I said, I'm on the Upper West Side. He said, I'll come to you. He was like, what time is good for you? I said, well, how about like noon, 1 o'clock? He was like, all right, when I get in that area, I'll hit you up. Sure enough, the next day he calls me up. He's like, yo, I'm in the area. We met up. He took me to this pizza shop, bought me some food, and we just sat there for hours, man, for hours. And he was just telling me all of these crazy stories about, hip hop culture, all of these events that had taken place, some of the battles that they were involved in. He told me how they kind of went, they were going head to head with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. I mean, this guy has stories. If you ever get to hang out with JDL, pull him aside, get him comfortable, and he'll give you an earful, man. Some really cool stuff you'll learn about New York and hip hop and the whole rap scene that goes back as far as the 70s. So I thought that was so cool of him. And then every time I would go to New York and I would run into him, You know, he was just that same cool dude. Like I said, I took a couple of tours where he was hosting, and so you know, there was that. I mean, then I would run into him like at the Crotona Park Jams, the Tools of War, Crotona Park Jams in the Bronx, and he's always just been that cool dude, man. So big ups to JDL from the legendary Cold Crush. Man, that was a great experience. Now, telling you that story about JDL just reminded me of a different story that, because I had somebody else in mind I was going to talk about. But talking about the old school New York just reminded me of somebody else I want to talk about. Check this out. Rest in peace, Cool DJ AJ, aka AJ Scratch. That is the man. It was around 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. My homeboy Chino D, who lives here in Phoenix, but he's from the Bronx. He was getting married, and we all went to New York because he was going to get married at Central Park, and I was his best man. So we're in New York. I'm chilling, you know, in the hotel, and I got a copy of the Source magazine. And you guys remember when the Source, they always had an article in there where they would interview somebody from the old school hip hop. And they had an article in there where they interviewed DJ AJ. And at the end of the article, it had his phone number and his email address. And I was like, really? So I called him up, and he answered. And I was like, whoa. And I was just like, yo, man, I'm cheesing over the phone the whole nine. And I'm like, man, I'm a big fan. You know, I'm in New York. I'm from Phoenix. My name is Daryl D. Man, is there any way that, you know, that I could, that we could meet up and, you know, hang out, you know? And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, I'm in the studio right now. He was like, but let's meet up tomorrow. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what's up. So I ended up meeting him in the South Bronx. And I ended up meeting him, like, what's that street in the Bronx where all of the shopping is? The Fulton? Fordham Road? I think that's what it is. Anyway, it's like if you've ever been over there, it's like literally, it's like a black version of Times Square. Just zillions of people everywhere, mad crazy traffic, you know, it's just popping. It's like a party during the daytime. But that's New York, you know what I mean? So I ended up meeting him at this McDonald's over there. And we sat, we talked, man, and man, did he have some stories. He was telling me all about how him and Russell Simmons, he used to DJ a lot of parties for Russell Simmons back in the day. He was telling me about the contributions that he had made to the VH1 Hip Hop Honor Show that he didn't get no credit for, that he didn't even get paid for. He just had all these stories, man. And he was a real cool dude. And then he gave me, as a gift, I don't know if you guys remember that rap book of postcards that came out, you know, several years ago. That's got all of the postcards in it with all these different rappers on them, and you kind of rip them out and you can send them out. Like, he gave me that as a gift, and that was cool. And I had him sign like some poster that I had, and I also brought one of my sneakers for him to sign because it's just legends on my sneakers. And he signed, what else? I brought I bought a Curtis Blow record that I had him sign. Because, you know, he was Curtis Blow's DJ. So we just hung out, man, and it was just chill. And I just couldn't believe that I'm sitting here, you know, across the booth from cool DJ AJ. And of course, I had met him, you know, a number of times over the years. Usually it was at, you know, the Park Jam, the Tools of War Park Jam in the Bronx, or I think I met him at a club after hours, not after hours, but a after party, a Tools of War after party jam at some club in the Bronx, and like everybody was there that night, man. Brand Nubian performed, Melly Mel was there, Kool Herc was there, Positive K was there, Lord Finesse was there, Cash Money was there, Grand Wizard Theodore was there, Grand Mixer DST was there. Just all of these people just hanging out. Brand Nubians on the stage, killing it. Oh, Jazzy J, did I say Jazzy J? He was there, he was DJing. Brand Nubians on the stage, killing it. And I'm out in the audience, you know, sitting next to, or standing next to Lord Finesse. And we just rocking to Brand Nubian. That's New York for you, man. That is New York for you. And so anyway, I've met him a few times. Always been a complete gentleman, straight up cool dude. You know, can't say enough good things about him. I really miss him. But you know, he's no longer with us. But yeah, man, I could go on and on, but we'll stop it there. Those are the 5 that I wanted to share with you guys. 5 of the coolest rappers / rap groups, or I should just say, you know, hip-hop figures from hip-hop culture that I've ever met. You know, 5 of the coolest that I've ever met. And that's really important when you're a die-hard fan of some people like I am. Not everybody is that cool. Which, by the way, brings me to this point. At some point, I'm going to film a video, and it's going to be 5 of the worst people that I've met in the entertainment business, hip-hop culture wise. So here you got, you know, my top 5 per se. And when I come back with another video like this, it's gonna be my worst 5. I wonder who's gonna be on that list. Feel me? All right, so we're gonna bring this to an end. Once again, this is Daryl D. Check out the video about old school Milwaukee rap, Ill-Waukee, right here on this channel. Check out Mental Fitness, it's on another level Pitt, right here on this channel. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time on the next one. Peace and love, y'all. Stay safe.